Hey Booktube, welcome back to the History Shelf. I'm your host Peg. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to be talking about what I'm reading and some books I've recently finished. I haven't done one of those videos in a while, and I thought you might be curious to see what kind of books are on the horizon. Some of these books have not been published yet, but will be very soon, and I'm reviewing them for different outlets. And I've got a couple of other things I thought I'd show you. As you can see, I haven't rearranged my office yet. I had a bunch of work last week and a bunch of deadlines, so rearranging the shelves and moving the desk around just was not in the cards last week. But hopefully, in the next couple of videos, you will see a new arrangement here in the office, and it'll look much more aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so I hope everyone's been doing well. It is a windy day here in Colorado, and in our new home and in our new small town that we live in, which I love. Out on the big open sky, plains right in front of the mountains, I've got tumbleweeds, actual tumbleweeds blowing down the street. And I can't even tell you how much that tickles me pink. I'm like a little schoolgirl. I feel like I'm living in the Old West, which is what I wanted to do since I was a little kid. I wanted to just be out on an Old West, Main Street, seeing the tumbleweeds blow down. I'm weird, what can I say? But yeah, just big ass tumbleweeds just blowing down the street. Also in our backyard, right behind the split rail fence, the dogs are watching the tumbleweeds just blowing fiercely, and it's just wonderful. They're loving it. We're loving it. So I just wanted to share the joy of tumbleweeds. But anyway, let's start with what I've been reading. I'll start with what I have recently finished, which you might be seeing. You will be seeing at some point some reviews coming out. And in fact, let me just make a little public service announcement. No, wait, a PEG service announcement, a PSA. I make myself laugh. I know. Martine's like, it's really amusing that you make yourself laugh so much. But also, Martine wanted me to tell you guys hi, and she wanted me to send give a personal message out to all of you. She wanted to say, thanks for helping us move, which, tongue in cheek, thanks a lot. Guess she expected you all to show up and lend a hand or something. She's just Martine. We adore her. But anyway, so what was I saying? Yes, I lost my train of thought on that. Thank you, Martine. Goodness, and then my camera glitches. It's telling me, keep on track, Peg. Oh yeah, the PSA, PEG service announcement is, if you're interested in following my written reviews, you can follow. I have started posting them, and I have been doing that actually for a few months now. Sorry for the hair. I tried to get it in order, but it did get wind whipped earlier. I have started posting links to my reviews to shelf awareness in particular on my Facebook History Shelf page, and also on my Instagram page. Instagram, it's a little bit tougher because you got to go down into the comments and find a way to, copy and paste the link. But what's easier is if you just go to Shelf Awareness and sign up for their free newsletter. And so you can search by my name, and if you're interested in knowing my last name, I'll be happy to share it with you. You can just contact me by email, which is on the About tab under the business email address. But essentially, you can just look up the books that interest you, and the ones that I show you on here, and it'll bring up my review. So anyway, let's see. I've two recent books that are, oh gosh, I just put it away, but I think I've shown them to you already. So I did it again. I hit my mouse, and sorry for that odd break. Okay, let's start with a book that will be coming to a review soon on Shelf Awareness. I just finished, a couple weeks ago, I finished reading The Age of the Strong Man, How the Cult of the Leader Threatens Democracy Around the World by Gideon Rachman. And this is put out by Other Press. As you can see, this is an advanced reader copy. It's coming out next month, very soon, April 12th. So actually my review will run that week. And shelf awareness. So again, just sign up for their free newsletter, look up the book, and you'll find my review. I liked it. I thought a couple of things here. I'm not going to give away too much. I've already written the review, but there were some inclusions. Each chapter kind of highlights chronologically, beginning with Putin's rise to the presidency of Russia in 2000. From 2000 onward, it kind of highlights all of the recent strongmen that the world has seen across the world. And one or two inclusions were very, to me, dubious and questionable. And even the author said one of them he knew he was going to get questioned about. So I'm not going to say what it is because I want you to read the review. But it was a good book, kind of depressing, seeing the trend lately in the rise of, the political style, the strongman style of politics, and it's across the globe, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. Not too big of a book, but get you thinking. So I finished that one recently. Moving on to historical fiction, mystery thriller. This was fantastic, and actually I'm reviewing this, or I already sent a review in for historical novels review, which I believe if you need to be a member actually of the Historical Novel Society to have access to the historical novels review. But you can check out there. I'll include a link to Historical Novel Society. You can check it out. For a very small, I think, membership fee, you can get in and just have access to a wonderful journal, the Historical Novels Review, which I've been writing for several years now. And this is William Martin's December 41, a World War II thriller, and boy, was it. This was really, it did keep me reading up until the wee hours of the night. This is a very well put together thriller. Just the way I don't want to give anything away, and I don't want to spoil my review. So all I can say is I highly recommend this book. I breezed through it. I've never read anything by William Martin before. Oh, and I should say this is put out by Forge. I've never read anything by William Martin, but now I want to read more. What a fantastic reading style. I will say it kind of wonderful elements of like this feeling of LA noir, very noirish, and I really dig that. So finished reading William Martin's December 41 about 5 days ago. Very much enjoyed it. So I had a little bit of a breather in between deadlines, so I was like, yay. But boy, now I'm back on the horse here because I've got a lot of books coming, a lot of deadlines coming for review, and other good stuff like that. So let's move on to history. This one is an ebook that I'm reading an advanced reader copy. Let me see if hopefully the glare, you can see it. It's a beautiful cover. But I am reading Empires of the Normans, Conquerors of Europe by Levi Roach. This one is coming out. Let's see if I can give you guys a heads up on that. It's put out by Pegasus Books. And I am reviewing this for Library Journal. So I'm a good 4 chapters in. Kind of covering Edward the Confessor right now. It's just your standard, I don't have a pub sheet for this, but it's just going into the Normans, how the empire rose, how it was formed, the early leaders. But so I'm not too far into it, but this one is coming. Whoa! Oh, hang on. I do have the pub sheet. I love when they have the pub sheet in the ebook. Not all of them do. So this is a treat. I'll read this to you then, since I have it. Actually, this is not coming out until, this is coming out in August, so you got a little bit of time. You'll be waiting a little bit here. Okay, so it says here, October 14th, 1066, as Harold II, the last crowned Anglo-Saxon king of England, lay dying in Sussex, the Duke of Normandy was celebrating an unlikely victory. William the Bastard, that was his name, the nickname, had emerged as the successor to the Norman throne. He had survived the carnage of the Battle of Hastings, and 2 months later, on Christmas Day, was crowned King of England. The Anglo-Saxons and Vikings would no longer rule England. It was now the age of the Normans. A momentous event in European history, the defeat of the Anglo-Saxons had the most dramatic effect of any defeat in the High Middle Ages. In a few short months, the leader of northern France became the dominant ruler of Britain. During the next century, as the Norman kings laid the foundations of modern Britain, their power would spread irresistibly across Europe. From Scandinavia down to Sicily, Malta, and Seville, the Normans built magnificent castles and churches, creating a new Europe in their own image. Empires of the Normans tells the extraordinary story of how the descendants of Viking marauders in northern France came to dominate European, Mediterranean, and Middle Eastern politics. It is a tale of ambitious adventures and fierce pirates, of fortunes made and fortunes lost. Across the generations, the Normans exerted their influence from the British Isles to North Africa and even to the Holy Land, with a combination of military might, political savvy, intense religious beliefs, and a profound sense of their own destiny. All right, so, and this is about the author, Levi Roach. I might have to look into this. His first book was Ethelred, the Unready, and that was put out by Yale University Press. That was awarded the Longman History Today Prize. So this is coming out August 2nd by Pegasus Books, and I've got an early peek at it for Library Journal, so I'm really, really excited about that, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm already highlighting stuff, and it's really, I have had, some readings in the Norman history. I mean, Battle of Hastings. I read a lot of historical fiction based around the Viking invasions of England. So a lot of these names I'm very familiar with, but this is great, and then it kind of puts it into a historical context that sometimes it's easy to forget some of the connections between the French and the Normans, and then the Saxon kings and queens, and so it's great. This is always, I can always use a good refresher on that period. Okay, so, and then moving on, I think I might have already shown this to you. I think I have, but I'm just going to mention it again because along with the Empires of the Normans, I have started reading this. I'll be reviewing this for the Washington Independent Review of Books, which is another great book review site. I'll include all the links below of places that I review. Some of them have a paywall, a couple of them do, but most don't. So check it out if you're interested, and you can follow me. I'd be tickled. Not as much as a tumbleweed. Kidding. Of course, I'd be more than tickled to have people follow my reviews more than a piece of tumbleweed. But it's pretty neat. I can't say enough about the tumbleweed just blowing down by the window. Okay, so the next book is The War That Made the Roman Empire. Antony, Cleopatra, and Octavian at Actium. That most epic of naval battles. And it's by Barry Strauss. The esteemed historian Barry Strauss. I've mentioned him again before in my other videos that I love his books, I love his works. And this is his new one coming out. It's put out by Simon & Schuster. And actually, this one's already out. Woo! Whoops. Okay. Well, I will be reviewing it very soon. And it should be coming to Washington Independent Review of Books very soon. It's about a 300-page book. And yeah, I'm making headway, and I'm loving it. He's a great writer. It just flows. And he's got a great skill at depicting personalities. So I really enjoy Barry Strauss's histories that he writes. So that's the other book I'm working on right now. Okay, just changing things up a bit, moving over to like nonfiction, true crime. This one's a little bit more unpleasant to read, only because of the subject matter, obviously. But I think it's important, and I think it's important that we all are aware of this. But I think I might have already shown this to you. This is Trailed. One Woman's Quest to Solve the Shenandoah Murders by Catherine Miles. This is put out by Algonquin Press, or Algonquin Books. So this is about a 1996 double murder that happened in a national park along the Appalachian Trail. I'm about 62 pages in, and I'm right at the part, well, I don't want to say. I guess I'm just holding, I don't want to read the next few pages because I just know, I don't, it just makes me upset. But this is important work because, well, let me read this to you. In May 1996, two skilled backcountry leaders, Lolly Winans and Julie Williams, were found murdered at their remote campsite in Virginia's Shenandoah National Park. This horrific unsolved crime continues to baffle authorities today. Was it a random murder? A hate crime? The Shenandoah murders haunt not just the victims' friends and loved ones, but also key investigators and members of the larger wilderness community, all unable to shake the memory of the loss of this free-spirited and remarkable young couple, gone too soon. In Trailed, award-winning journalist and outdoors expert Catherine Miles goes deeper into the story of the Shenandoah murders than anyone has before, with her intimate and compassionate reporting. With unprecedented access to crucial crime scene evidence, a clear-eyed look at forensics, and a growing sense of both mission and obsession, she begins to uncover the truth. And the truth, she reveals, is not what anyone expected. She argues that the wrong man has been under suspicion for more than 20 years, his life a shambles, and the true culprit may be right in front of authorities, if only they take a closer look. Trailed is a compelling, eye-opening, and beautiful narrative for fans of deeply reported true crime books such as Michelle McNamara's I'll Be Gone in the Dark, for readers interested in criminal justice, and for all people who look to the wilderness as a place of freedom and safety. And I think that's what's jumping out at me so far is, and again, I'll be reviewing this for Shelf Awareness as well. This is coming out May 3rd. So I'll be finishing this up by early next week to write that review. But it kind of, living in Colorado and having hiked and camped here and there. I've never done tent camping. I've done like pop-up camps, pop-up trailers and stuff like that. Tent camping is just a little too too rugged for me. I'm more of the glamping type. Sorry. But yeah, this kind of makes you think. When I've gone out into the wilderness here in Colorado, I've worried about mountain lions, bears, things like that. Getting lost, that's a surefire way to, it's very easy to get lost and very hard to be found in many instances in the wilderness. And it's easy to die, just from exposure, dehydration, whatever. It's just, it happens. But, reading this book, it makes you now, back when I did these things, it was a good 15 years ago. I don't have the endurance to be doing some of these long hikes like Catherine Miles details so far in Trailed. She's kind of including her own experiences loving the outdoors and doing multi-day hikes by herself, which I find insane in a way, but a lot of people do, male, female. A lot of men do it, more than females, but than women. But so far in this book, you can tell like her hold on the sense of safety in the wilderness and the beauty of being outdoors is being kind of rattled and shaken and questioned by the fact that this happened. And, I'm only 60 pages in, but already it's very riveting. And I want to also mention that I have an extra copy of this, an advanced reader copy. So as these things come available, as you know, I've been mentioning that if anyone is interested in a certain book and you're interested in it, you wouldn't mind receiving it, I'd be happy to send it to you. I would ask for patience as I try to, I know I have a second one and I don't know where I put it, but I know it's here somewhere. And so, but if you're interested in receiving a copy, an advanced reader copy, I'm happy to give one away. But in the meantime, I'm reading this, I'm riveted, I'm reading this every day. And it's pretty sobering and unsettling. But, you got to be aware. I mean, I guess in this case, you just never know who might be watching you and trailing you, literally. And the fact that this happened in 1996 and it's still unsolved it's very disturbing. So that's the other thing I'm reading. And 3 books I'm about to start. Actually 4. Okay. No. Okay. No, this one I'm going to start later in April, so I might save it for later, but I will show you it. So this book I will be reviewing, and I'll probably start reading this next week. But it looks super good. It's coming out in June, and I love... I'm getting a lot of books about Lincoln lately, and this is another one, but it's a mixture. And this sounds so intriguing. The whole premise is I've never heard of anything like this before. You guys, keep this on your radar. And this is coming out from Liverwrite. And this is In the Houses of Their Dead, The Lincolns, the Booths, and the Spirits by Terry Alford. Look at that. And they kind of make it look like they're ghosts on the White House lawn there. Coming out in June. So let me read it to you. Story of Abraham Lincoln's interest in spiritualism and how it linked the president uncannily to the man who killed him. I know Bill Rutenberg's ears had perked up as soon as I mentioned Lincoln, so I'm sure this is a book he might want to add to his TBR for June. Abraham Lincoln is perhaps the most studied figure in American history, the subject of myriad books examining his views on slavery, his family, his mental health, and even his eyeglasses and footwear. Yet, until now, no scholar has delved into Lincoln's least expected side, his fascination with spiritualism, which held that the dead were nearby and anxious to comfort those who mourned them. And strangely enough, this fascination connected Lincoln to John Wilkes Booth well before the Civil War, presenting new and unexpected linkages between Lincoln, his wife Mary, and the Booths. Distinguished historian Terry Alford demonstrates that personal tragedy led both families to turn for solace to spiritualism, including to the same mediums, one of whom would warn the president of his impending death. A novelistic narrative of 2 exceptional American families set against the convulsing social movements of the 19th century, In the Houses of Their Dead reveals how ghost stories helped to shape the nation. Fascinating. And there is our author, Terry Alford, the author of Fortune's Fool. It sounds very familiar. It was a National Book Critics Circle Award finalist and Prince Among Slaves. So, coming out in June. Looks like a pretty slim read. Well, I call it slim. It's about 250 pages. But we've got... illustrations. Again, this is just an advanced reader copy, so there might be more pictures as we get through it. But I'll be starting this one next week. Along that same time period, let me. This is not a book for review, but it is a book for Booktube review and Buddy Read review. And I'm hoping that Bill Rutenberg at the Rutenberg Library, your friend of mine, our favorites, one of our favorites out there. We're doing a buddy read of Robert E. Lee, A Life by Allen Guelzo. Best-selling author of Gettysburg, we all know, and this is put out by Knopf. So I know Bill made a comeback video a couple days ago from his vacation. He was gone a couple weeks, and he's already ahead of me. Bill, you're already ahead of me, but I plan on catching up and getting through chapter 2 by Sunday. So this is on the docket for some power reading. But I'm hoping we can do a Zoom a book chat, after we finish, which we will share with everyone if you're interested in our thoughts. I'll be making notes as we go. We both will. And I've always enjoyed doing buddy reads with Bill and our book chats that we film for you guys. So we'll do the same for this one. So think of questions, and if you have questions that you want us to maybe answer, that might be fun to, kind of round out and add some texture to our discussion. Please feel free to leave a comment either on Bill's channel or mine in the comments below. Just say, hey, regarding the Lee biography, I'd like for you guys to maybe talk about this aspect of Lee or whatever, and see, how did Guelzo handle it or something. that would be great. I would love to have like viewer questions kind of queued up for us. Maybe at some point we might try to do a live book chat. Let me try to get a little bit more organized. I have to figure out how to do that and keep an eye on the chat as it's going by. But in the meantime, I'll keep an eye on this video and any future ones. Just kind of call it out. If you have questions about it, let me know, and we'll incorporate that into our study of Robert E. Lee, A Life. So that's a great spine too, I have to say. So as you can see, I've got a lot on the docket, a lot in progress and about to start. And I'm also about to start this very fantastic looking book. I mean, I hadn't even heard of this. And then the ties that the author's trying to make to the Cold War I'll just stop talking. I'll hold it up. It's called The Vortex, a true story of history's deadliest storm, an unspeakable war and liberation by Scott Carney and Jason Micklien. Look at that cover. Sorry for the glare. I need to have a little light to balance the light coming in through the window. This is put out by Echo Books. This is a finished copy. I think they just rolled off the press a couple weeks ago. So let me read this to you. I will be reviewing this for Book Browse Review, one of my favorite outlets and publications. I've been working with them for a few years now, maybe even more. Time flies when you're having book reviewing fun. And I'll be writing a review on this, a long style review, like a long form review, as well as a Beyond the Book article, which is what Book Browse offers. You get not only a book review, but you get a Beyond the Book article that features some type of aspect of the reviewer's choosing to delve into more deeply. Those are fun. I get to research those and write, and I just love it. I love writing. So The Vortex, what is this about, you say? Okay. In November 1970, a colossal storm set a collision course with the most densely populated coastline on Earth. Over the course of just a few hours, the Great Bola cyclone would kill 500,000 people. I'd never even heard of this. This is crazy. So the Great Bola cyclone would kill 500,000 people and begin a chain reaction of turmoil, genocide, and war. The Vortex is the dramatic story of how that storm sparked a country to revolution. The cyclone made landfall during a fragile time when Pakistan was on the brink of a historic election. The fallout ignited a conflagration of political intrigue, corruption, violence, idealism, and bravery that played out in the lives of tens of millions of Bangladeshis. Authors Scott Carney and Jason Micklien bring the disaster and its aftermath to life through the eyes of the men and women who lived through it, including the infamous president of Pakistan, General Yahya Khan, and his close friend Richard Nixon. American expats turned activists Cornelia and John Rode, soccer star turned soldier Hafiz Uddin Ahmad, and a young Bengali revolutionary Mohammed Hai. Thrillingly paced and written with incredible detail, The Vortex is not just an account of the painful birth of a new nation, but also a universal tale of resilience and liberation in the face of the present climate emergency affecting every single person on the planet. Wow. And it's already received a ton, and here are the authors. Okay. Tons of blurbs already for this book. Let's see any names that I recognize. It's American University. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this. It's a big one. So I gotta get cranking on this. This is a good 425 page book, but I'm glad to have it in a finished copy. So I have all the kind of photographs and illustration or maps and things like this. It's helpful for me when I'm writing to see these people, to know who they're talking about. So it's always nice to have a finished copy to work on for a review. So this one I'm about to start this weekend. And basically I have to read it in about a week and then start working on the review and the article. So there's that. Now this book I'm not starting right away. It's not due until April 25th. So I probably will start it the end of the first week of April because it's a big boy, but I'm really stoked. This is from Princeton University Press, another one of my favorite university presses. And it's an uncorrected advanced proof, so I'm very happy to have it. This is coming out in 632 pages. It's pretty big. It's coming out in July, but my review is due at the end of April almost. So I'll be reviewing this for Library Journal as well. This is The World the Plague Made, The Black Death and the Rise of Europe by James Belich. Again, Princeton. It's beautiful. Beautiful copy. I was happy to get a physical galley of this. Let's see. Let's read from the pub sheet, which is actually kind of stitched right into the galley here. This is a groundbreaking history of how the Black Death unleashed revolutionary change across the medieval world and ushered in the modern age. In 1346, a catastrophic plague beset Europe and its neighbors. The Black Death was a human tragedy that abruptly halved entire populations and caused untold suffering, but it also brought about a cultural and economic renewal on a scale never before witnessed. The World the Plague Made is a panoramic history of how the bubonic plague revolutionized labor, trade, and technology and set the stage for Europe's global expansion. James Belich takes readers across centuries and continents to shed new light on one of history's greatest paradoxes. Why did Europe's dramatic rise begin in the wake of the Black Death? Belich shows how plague doubled the per capita endowment of everything, even as it decimated the population. Let's remember, decimated means a tenth, 10%. Anyway, many more people had disposable incomes. Demand grew for silks, sugar, spices, furs, gold, and slaves. Europe expanded to satisfy that demand, and plague provided the means. Labor scarcity drove more use of water power, wind power, and gunpowder. Technologies like water-powered blast furnaces, heavily gunned galleons, and musketry were fast-tracked by plague. A new crew culture of disposable males, and those words were in quotes, so he's not saying they're disposable males. Okay. A new crew culture of disposable males emerged to man the guns and galleons. Setting the rise of Western Europe in global context, Belich demonstrates how the mighty empires of the Middle East and Russia also flourished after the plague, and how European expansion was deeply entangled with the Chinese and other peoples throughout the world. So, sign me up. I love stuff like this, and it's going to be a really good book that I have to condense down into a 200 word, 200 to 300 word review. That's a challenge, but you know what? It also helps. It helps as a reader to be able to be tasked with types of reviews, both long and short. Long, you can really get creative and go into side alleys and kind of pick and choose what stood out to you in a book that you think is really pertinent to the main theme. But when you get to a short form review, it really forces you to zero in and to find out what the argument is, what the key impacts were, and how the person wrote, how the author wrote the book, what kind of sources they used. Did they use them wisely? Did they use them, were they valid sources? That type of thing. So it kind of challenges you, and this is meaty stuff. So it's going to be a pretty high level, but high level 50,000 foot view review. But I like this stuff anyway, so I'm going to read every inch of it and just pull out the bits and pieces that are going to make someone interested in reading the book. So I hope to do that at least. But yeah, this is a hefty one. So I actually might need to start reading it sooner, but I need to finish up a few of these others before I start tackling this bad boy. So that's 35 minutes in, once I splice in the two videos. That's what's on my docket right now, guys. And in fact, I have a couple more that I didn't bring over to show you because I haven't started them, and I probably won't start them until April, along with the plague book here. So I'll save those for another installment of What is Peg Reading? or what I'm reading now. Tell me what you're reading. I would like to know because you guys give me good ideas. You always give me good ideas and recommendations. And please know that I do take account of those. I've had some people just throw out some titles of books in the comments that I'm like, what? I've never heard of this. Look it up. I've added it to my list. So I'm always open for more suggestions. But let me know what you think of these books. And again, I'll call this one out as well. Trailed, if anyone is, that's my notebook in there. I keep notes as I'm reading. Let me know if anyone's interested in an extra copy of this. Just please give me time to find the extra copy. And we'll go from there. All right, Booktube. Well, until next time, thanks for joining me here at the History Shelf, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.